I've also
Here
had
we go.
detective
Yeah.
mode. Have I talked about the motorcycle on the podcast or the moped?
No.
Is that worth? Do you even know that story?
No, go ahead.
I've never. Okay, I'm surprised I haven't talked about this.
No, tell me about it.
So I bought a moped, off of somebody on Craigslist.
Yeah.
So bought a moped, had it for a while. I broke my collarbone riding it one time. It was just like, it was a fluke accident. I've never broken a bone.
Yeah.
And like, it was kind of, my friends were rolling their eyes at me like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, it's kind of a squirrely, like beefed up moped.
Right.
So like, yeah, you're dumb. Like, you shouldn't have that thing. Healed. I had it parked outside my place. I went to a music festival for the weekend. When I came back, this is a few years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 3 or 4. I came back and it was gone. It took me a little bit to notice it was just gone. I'm like, oh, damn. And I was just so tired. I was like, you know what? Maybe it's a sign. I shouldn't have it. I guess I'm glad it's stolen.
Yeah.
There's some closure.
How much did you pay for it?
I mean, I put money into it.
Okay.
So I paid like $800, but I probably put 2,000 into it.
Right.
Or something.
But you were
1,500.
relieved that it was stolen?
Well, breaking your shoulder is no joke.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I was healed at that point, but it was like, yeah,
like,
maybe
this
I
has
should
done more damage than good to my life. This should,
I still liked the thing.
Yeah.
But
God,
people were
God
guilting
sent
me.
someone to steal my moped.
Yeah, I was kind of like
Yeah.
that vibe. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I'm kind of in that
When
mood
God
and I'm
closes
tired.
one door, he steals your moped.
Yes. So I was tired and I just went inside and I was like, okay, whatever. I had a very zen approach. Like a day later though, I don't know what happened, but I started getting like a little annoyed. Like, damn, like, how did they steal it? Like, I'm kind of pissed. I would like it back. I could have at least sold it.
Yeah.
So I start just sort of poking around, and then that twinkle in my eye started again, and I decided, okay, look, I'll give myself 1 week to try to hunt down whoever found it or whoever stole it. I'll give myself 1 week. If I can't get it back in a week, I give up.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the challenge. So I started down this mission, and I don't know. I could maybe give the bullet points of how I, like, spoiler alert, I found the guy. All right.
Right.
So, and it was kind of amazing. So, but I'll give the details of how I did it.
Yeah.
Where did I start? So it was parked outside and it was chained up. I have a big building. It's a warehouse, very sketchy area, but it's like kind of contained and like a lot of residents, people coming in and out. It would be hard to steal it,
Yeah.
I looked. First thing, our building does have some security cameras, not pointed at the moped, but like, I wasn't even sure if they worked, so I got a hold of the guy who like does the maintenance. We go in and crack into the cameras. Not really any luck. But we start scrubbing around. Some of them work, some of them don't. Start scrubbing around, don't get like a ton of leads. Eventually, we do find around the time that it was stolen, and there's not really any footage. So no footage that I could really use, and the cameras are all blurry.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give up on this for now, because it's a very hard system to like work too.
Okay.
And I find a check cashing place down the street. And I think they might have an angle of like around the time I think it would have been stolen.
Yeah.
I'm going to flash forward. There's a lot of like calculations and stuff to figure out. I was gone for 4 days. Like, when would this have been taken?
Right.
Anyway, the Chinese lady that owns this check cashing place, I kind of like planted a seed in her head and tasked her with it. She speaks very broken English. She finds me one day and she's like all excited. She had like found the clip, and it's like from a few cameras.
Yeah.
And I go in there and I'm like in this arm, like they have like full armed security in there, by
Yeah.
the way. We're behind bulletproof glass, and she's like,
Wild.
we're in Skid Row. She has a check cashing place there. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But so she finds it, super blurry footage, like very unusable.
Yeah.
But I could see the outline of a person,
Yeah.
and literally I can't see the face, anything.
Yeah.
So I have a few clues. The clues were that he rode up on a bicycle.
Yeah.
He had a backpack on that was pretty unique. It was like a messenger bag.
Okay.
Very common in most cities, not in LA. That stuck out to me.
Sure.
And he went right over. So he parked his bicycle, went over, clipped my chain instantly, wheeled the moped away, that's where I stopped seeing like where he went. And then he came back 2 hours later on another bicycle, unlocked his bicycle, and rode it back. So from there, my thought was that obviously this is a cyclist.
Right.
Not only that, he cycles a lot. He has 2 bikes, or at least access to a second bike.
Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, exactly. And he also had this messenger bag that like was pretty unique. So I started looking for the bag online. And I found the brand and everything, and I figured out it was an orange bag.
Yeah.
So that was like a key.
Right.
I knew exactly what the bag looked like.
Yeah.
It was extremely blurry. And then it was clear that he walked up to the bike with confidence, like he knew it was there, like he planned this.
Yeah.
So I just started making some like speculations.
Right.
I lived in a weird area, and my guess was that he is this is my criminal profile. He is a bike delivery driver.
Yeah.
Who delivers to my building.
Yes.
And he saw it out there and saw an opportunity and decided to come back a night later or something, because he had the clippers with him. Everything, it was a plan.
Yeah.
So I started looking into who delivers on bikes in my area. And I found that there's only 2 places. One of them was LA Cafe, I think. They have a ton of bike delivery drivers.
Right.
So I went, this is where it starts to get tricky, because like, mind you, this is like 4 days in.
Yeah.
Approaching the final days. The reason for this deadline, 7 days, is because I'm going out of town for work.
Yeah.
So we're on like the last couple days. I go to LA Cafe. Their drivers have an official backpack, and it's not the one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, most likely he does not work here.
Right.
The other place is like this liquor store.
Yeah.
And I figure I can maybe go scout it or whatever, but it's like I don't really have quite have a plan.
Yeah.
Of what I'm going to do if I found him. And also like how to identify him further than that. So this is when the universe steps in and it starts getting really weird. I kind of like sort of got distracted from work and stuff. It's the day before I leave, kind of approaching the deadline.
Yeah.
It's still sort of a shot in the dark, even though it sounds like I have a lot of clues. It's still like it could be anybody.
Right.
I had a dog at the time. It was like a stray dog that I was taking care of.
Yes.
Walking the dog downstairs. I was about to go pack for my trip. I was leaving on a red-eye flight. And I'm walking the dog, and I'm coming back, and I see a road bike outside that's not locked. And it looks a lot like the type of bike that was in the video. And I keep walking up to my door, and I see the fucking orange backpack. And I see his hair, and it looks a lot like the blurry guy in the video.
Yeah.
And I start freaking out. I was like, dude, I have a little dog with me. Like, what am I going to do right now? I think this is the guy.
Yeah.
I don't have a plan for this.
Yeah.
So I text my roommate, like, dude, just come down here right now. And I hear some noise inside, and somehow my plan was just to walk past the guy and go upstairs, get my roommate. But my other neighbor comes downstairs, and I realize that my neighbor is receiving a delivery from this guy, the thief.
Yeah.
And so now my neighbor sees me, and he's like, "Oh, what's up?" And he's like very nice, and like he's chatting up the driver, and we get into this very, very crazy conversation. And I just get very confused. So he's like, my neighbor's like, "Oh, dude, you're a bike delivery guy or whatever," and the guy's like, "Yeah," and like he's like looking at me, and my neighbor's like, "Oh, dude, be careful with your bike out there. There's been some bikes getting stolen out there." He's like, his moped got stolen. And the guy's like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, and I start freaking out because I'm like, wait, how does my neighbor know? It sounds like my neighbor's fucking with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, how does he know? Did my roommate tell him?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not prepared for this. And my neighbor starts like, what I later learned was casual conversation. It sounds like a very weird threat going on because I'm holding a little dog.
Yeah.
My neighbor is like not an intimidating guy. And he's like, "Yeah, man, his moped got stolen. Somebody took it." And he's like, "Be careful with your bike out there." And the guy's like, "Oh, okay." Like very, very puzzled.
Right.
And I'm just looking at him like, yeah, it was crazy. Somebody stole it.
Yeah.
And he's like just baffled.
Yeah.
And so the guy takes off casually. I get his phone number from my neighbor who just got the delivery. The guy called him on his cell phone to come down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I could figure out his identity from there.
Yeah.
My neighbor, meanwhile, is like blown away. He doesn't realize he accidentally threatened this guy. Yeah. So I was like, what do I do? Because I had a few plans of like, what do I do? When I find him, what do I do?
Right.
Because I want the bike back. Do I just like intercept him and like beat his ass when he's like delivering? That doesn't get the bike back. I was going to try to find out where he lives, follow him home, and just steal it back from him.
Right.
But I realized like after freaking out, I'm like, oh, dude, I have to go on my flight.
Yeah.
I have an hour. I haven't even packed. I'm like, he's so freaked out right now. He'll probably ditch the bike.
Yeah.
So took a long time figuring this out. I wasn't sure which route to go.
Yeah.
There's like intimidation, like stealing. I decide on the way to the airport, I'm just going to pop into his work and just talk to him. And be direct.
On the way to the airport.
On the way to the airport. My roommate's going to drive me. So we did that. We went to the liquor store. I wasn't sure if he's going to be there. And I was like, had no preparation.
Yeah.
But so I walk in. He happens to be standing behind the counter next to his manager.
Right.
And this is not a small man. He's taller than me. Like, he has 6 inches on me.
Okay.
And I walk in and I was like, he sees me. Immediately he's like, oh my God, he has this look on his face, you know? Yeah. I'm like, but I tried to stay cool. I was like, hey man, can I talk to you outside? He's like, yeah. And he just like followed me outside.
Yeah.
And I was like, and there's all these delivery drivers around and they all had orange backpacks. So like also inside I was like, oh dude, this could not be him. Like this could be it could have been any of these guys.
Yeah.
But I just stuck with it. Cause I was like, dude, it's too late. It's too late. So this guy's, and he's very nervous. So like, so he's walking out with me and I'm like, we could step away from them. I was saying that because I didn't want them to like just all join up and kick my ass.
Yeah.
But I was like, let's step away.
Just getting your ass kicked by like
but there's
10
like
dudes with orange backpacks.
Yeah. There's like, so we get away and I see he's like quivering, like very nervous.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, you stole my bike. I want it back. And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. And I was like, it's okay. I'm like, I know
why did you do it?
I know you stole it. It's okay. I'm just going to need it back. And if you do, it's going to be no problem. I don't think you want any problems, especially here at your work in front of your manager. He's like, no, I don't. He's like, I'll give it back. And I was like, okay, great. And he starts like apologizing. He's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I thought it was abandoned. Like, dude, I feel so bad. You had your helmet in there. And when I saw, because I had like a skate company sticker on it, like a local shop. And he's like, when I saw that sticker, like I felt really bad because I'm like, oh, I know that place. Like this guy, like this
guy's probably cool.
Yeah, he kind of implied that, like like a peer.
I didn't know I was stealing.
Yeah,
from
and he
a
starts
cool
getting
person.
he starts like doing that. I'm like, it's okay. I'm like very calm, like it's okay. And then I kind of like motion, and my roommate like appears out of the shadows, and I'm like, this is Lyndon. I'm leaving town, but this is Lyndon. He'll take your information and you could give the bike to him.
Wow.
And he's like, okay. And Lyndon like takes his information. Lyndon has like very long hair down to his like mid chest right now.
Fucking moped Tony Soprano.
So
all right.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I'm not an intimidating person, really. I would say like by default, standard male. But so he's like, so he gives the information and like I was like, all right, man, like glad to have my bike back. And I like went to shake his hand and he was like shaking and he's like, I don't feel comfortable shaking your hand. I feel so bad. And like,
oh wow.
So we walk away. So anyway, I say goodbye and we walk away and my roommate's like, dude, that guy, what happened back? Like, what'd you say to him? He was terrified. Yeah. And I was like, I just asked for my bike back. I was like very simple, like direct. I even like try to be courteous. And he's like, I was watching, like he was shaking and like, I was like, I know, I don't know why either. Like that was crazy. I was just like, looked like he was going to die. Yeah. And then when we were driving to the airport, I started kind of piecing it together, you know, like I knew who he was. I knew I didn't mention I knew his first name. Okay. So I called him by his first name, which I forget by now, but it was like, hey, Dave, like. Yeah. So I walk into his, like, so not only did I know who he was, and he realized that, but also he pieced together that I chatted him up 30 minutes before while holding a tiny dog, making small talk about it being stolen and didn't say anything there. Yeah. So he was like, so that definitely made me look like a psychopath, right? Yeah. And on top of that, just out of circumstances, it was a chilly night, and I was wearing the coat I had available to me, which happened to be like a long trench coat type coat. So I was in a trench coat, and I had bleached blonde hair.
Yeah.
And I realized...
Full school shooter look.
Yeah, my roommate pointed that out. He's like, you did have that trench coat, and you have bleached hair. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I definitely looked like trench coat mafia.
Yeah.
And I'm like just this freak that knows his name and like didn't do it. And like, yeah, it was very like just kind of the things like stars aligned, and I was very intimidating.
That's good.
And
That's great.
So anyway, he brought it back that night after he got off work, and he put inside of there when I got it back, dude. When I got back, because I also told him like, I know you probably fucked it up a little bit. Anything you took off of it, put the parts back in there.
Yeah.
And so I like checked. There's like a little trunk on it.
Yeah.
And in there was a Chipotle gift card.
Aww.
Which is a really funny gesture, right? Because I'm like, oh, that's kind of a weird, like, sorry for stealing your bike, Chipotle.
Yeah.
Like, here, have a burritos, you know?
Burrito on me.
It was like a $20 Chipotle card. Like, here's $20 for Chipotle.
Yeah.
Sorry for stealing your moped.
That's enough for
don't murder me.
Motherfucking
that's like
quesarito.
I know, it's a murder. Don't murder me, you psychopath. Chipotle. It's kind of like it's just like not a lot, like not really securing the non-murder.
Sorry for stealing your bike. Please don't murder me. Here's a burrito.
Yeah. So I guess the final chapter of this story though is I put the Chipotle card to the side. Of course, I was on vacation and everything.
Yeah.
Probably a month or so later, I'm like, I find it. I'm like, oh, a Chipotle card. Like, I'm gonna use this thing.
Empty?
No, there's like $7 on it.
Oh
worse than empty. I went to go get a burrito. They're like, "Oh, you owe us $2." And I was like, "How much was on that card?" And they're like, $7.30.
That's fucked.
I was like, "This motherfucker gave me re-gifted me a Chipotle card."
That's fucked. Now you should murder him.
I know, but he changed his number.
Wow. Yeah. This motherfucker.
I know.
God damn.
Dude, this is I was also like, I was posting updates about the whole thing, like the investigation. I didn't have like any Instagram followers really.
Yeah.
Like during this. This is I was just posting it for like the few randoms that followed me and friends.
Right.
But people were following along. It was like a whole saga.
Damn. Yeah, that's wild. You never told me that.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
God
damn.
I wonder if that guy's ever stumbled across my Instagram since then. Been like, damn, I stole his bike.
Yeah.
The guy might be a psychopath.
$7.
The $7 Chipotle card, dude. That's was
probably the most fucked up part of all of it.
Yeah. Dude, this has been a good episode.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a good story. Is that compelling?
Story. That's a compelling story. Yeah, I wouldn't get self-conscious. That's a good
story. I feel like that's some good Patreon juice.
That's juice. You're wheezing the juice.
Absolutely wheezing the juice. What if that man's listening right now?
What if he's a patron?
He's a god tier. He's like making it back.